Hey folks, Dave Parrish here at Knack Builders. Today's topic, again, please like this video and subscribe to the YouTube channel if you get any value out of these. But today's topic, I'm going to go over one of Knack's reporting functions. These are very useful, called pivot tables. You might be used to them from Excel or Google Sheets or something, but I'll explain in detail how Knack uses them. Real quick, here's an article. Knack doesn't go into too much explanation of them. But basically, a pivot table does calculation based on records underneath it, and it sums, averages, whatever you want. In this case, this is a fake thing, but we have various donor people that made donations. So this pivot table groups them by who gave it, and then it's grouping it by a particular fundraising event. So in this case, it's summing all the different things, and you can look at it in a variety of ways. I'll be back in a minute with more detail. Thank you. Okay, I'm back here to talk about pivot tables. I called up an app that I did. I talked about, I think I did a case study on this. It's an attendance event attendance tracking app. This is an organization that throws on these educational things, and they're funded by state government, and they have to do periodic reporting on all the demographics. We have stuff regarding age, race, Hispanic, all kinds of stuff. And they have a lot of events that go on. We have over 1,000 attendance records. So we want to get insight into all these things. I'm going to jump over to the Live app. Now, here's a pivot table. There's a bunch of different things we track, but I'm going to just look at this one. This is looking at are they Hispanic origin or not? So it's Hispanic origin or not. They have to report that to the state. Now, what this is doing is all those over 1,000 records, it's adding them all up. But they have to report in different ways. And by filtering, you can do all kinds of things. We can put in a range of dates. So if they have to do it by quarter, we can do it before this date and after that date to get specific things. They could get, we just need to look at mail or whatever the stuff they have to get. But all that's driven off of building this pivot table, looking at all those records, and then doing dynamic things to it. And another nice feature, you could, if we want to look at who is between 0 and 4 age, we can click on that, and it's going to give us information we can drive down. That's an option. But we're going to look at this particular table and see how it was constructed in the back end. Let's go over to pages, reporting, and the one we're looking at is this one. So let's engage that. Now, the first thing up here, we're looking at attendance line item records. So every time someone was attendant, that's what the source of this. So when you make it, you'd add something, you'd select the right table. And in this case, we want to look at all of them. If you needed to filter it by something, you can do that if something made sense. But if we look at the age here, my mouse is having problems. Back here, group by ages. These are the rows. So if we go back here to the back end, the first thing, what rows do we want? You can have all kinds of choices. In this case, hey, we want to look at age. That is select rows that are all the age options we have. And in this other thing, we want to look at, in this case, we're using columns. Sometimes you don't use pivot columns. What this does is we have a value, and it's, are you Hispanic? Yes, no. Before not to say there's 3, it's multiple choice. If you pick columns, it will spread whatever the values are across as the columns. And it could be by month too. That makes it easy instead of having to make, let's say 12 months, define it by January, divide all this different stuff. It just spreads them across. I'm going to get back to that at the end, by the way. And what do we want to do with these? We want to count them. And there's different operating things you can do with the calculation. But in this case, we just want it to count. So that's what it does. It spreads it across, and it looks at all the stuff underneath it It's counting them, and it creates a nice table. Then we can have a sum here at the bottom. We're saying, hey, make a column sum here. We want to sum that. Now, back to this pivot column thing. This is I don't know if it's a bug. It's something doesn't work how it should. It'd be nice here to have a column at the end to the right that sums up all these. We can just look at it. But how Knack does this, since we've just picked one value here, Hispanic origin, yes, no, prefer not to say, it considers that to be one value or one column, even though it's actually making it into three in this case. And you'll see down here where you have the option to get row summaries. Row summaries only work with two or more calculations. This, I don't like. This, you have to live with. I think there's some custom code you can apply to get that last column that sums it, but natively, that's not going to work. And then there's other options here. Sometimes you don't want to count values that don't exist. Meaning you have a record, but that value doesn't exist in it. You can say exclude empty groups and then do that. And this ability here in the live app to click and then see the underlying things that are driving the value, that's really useful. You do this, click to expand group records, and that's what it does. There's other filter things that I'm not going to get into, but it takes a little while getting used to these, but they're really helpful when you're reporting that stuff. So that's what I got for this one. Appreciate it, guys. Thanks.